Meet Sasha. She lives in a big city with her mom and dad, and in the summer, she often comes to the village to visit her grandparents. On this particular journey, the girl sat in her car seat right behind her dad and pretended that it was she who was driving. Sasha took her favorite toys on the trip with her: a scooter, a doll named Ellie, a stroller, and a brand new, real flashlight. The road was long, and it was only in the evening that Sasha and her dad arrived in the village. Their arrival filled the girl with joy. "Look, Ellie, there are so many flowers and trees around," Sasha said. "You won't see so many in the city." Ellie, however, only flapped her eyelashes absent-mindedly. It looked as if she had grown very tired on the road, and now she was keen to rest. Sasha put the doll to sleep and decided to ride the scooter. "Just don't go too far, Sasha. It's getting dark. And stay out of the forest," her grandmother shouted after her. The forest was not far from her grandparents' house. Sasha sometimes went there for a walk with the adults, but it was strictly forbidden for Sasha to enter the forest alone, so she rode a little way along the narrow footpath, then returned home. When she woke up in the morning, Sasha found that the scooter had disappeared. "Where did you leave it?" her grandmother asked, worried. "It was here in the yard," Sasha answered sadly. She was terribly sorry about the new scooter. "None of the villagers could have taken it," said her grandfather. "But as for the forest dwellers, I'm not so sure." "Are you really at this again?" snapped her grandmother. For some reason, she was suddenly angry with Sasha's grandfather. "You may be a respectable old man, still all there, but oh, you fantasize like a little one. There's no need to stuff your grandchild's head with all sorts of things." "Grandpa, tell me more," Sasha asked immediately. She loved to listen to her grandfather's tales, which he often made up for her. She was especially interested in those tales about various magical creatures. These creatures seemed to live in the forest and were afraid of people, so they never came near without reason. Oh, how interesting and magical her grandfather's stories were. Sasha wanted her head to be filled with them, but this time her grandfather was in a hurry, and he had no time to tell her fairy tales. The next day, Sasha had a new misfortune. Her doll, Ellie, had disappeared. She had slept overnight in her stroller in the garden, but in the morning, neither the doll nor the stroller was there. "Well, this can't stand. I have to find Ellie." Sasha stamped her foot resolutely and began to search for her doll. She searched the entire yard, looked in the basement and the attic, walked around the house, and looked down the street. Ellie was nowhere to be found. "There's only one thing left to do. It's time to go to the forest," Sasha decided uneasily. After all, it was forbidden for her to walk into the forest. "Oh, I can't leave Ellie in trouble," the little girl told herself as her legs carried her towards the trees along the narrow path. "Besides, it's still morning. It won't get dark anytime soon, and I'll be back by evening. Maybe Grandmother won't notice." Thinking like this, Sasha walked deeper into the woods. The path was getting narrower, the forest darker, and Ellie's doll was still nowhere to be seen. Soon, the forest path was as dark as night. Even a flashlight was of little use in such darkness. Sasha got scared and decided that it would be better for her to return home. But she suddenly realized that she was lost. "Oh no, my poor Ellie! Oh, and poor me," Sasha moaned. Now all she wanted was for her grandmother to notice her absence, to guess that Sasha had gone into the forest, and came to save her granddaughter. However, time passed, and still no one came. Everything in the forest was quiet. Only the leaves rustled in the tops of the trees. What's more, something was rustling and crackling mysteriously in the grass. The forest no longer looked as harmless as it had in the morning when SASHAA had looked at it from the window. In fact, it had become so gloomy and pitch black that it seemed to the girl that from behind every tree, someone's eyes were watching her. The forest had suddenly become dangerous. When SASHAA was completely desperate and finally about to cry, something big flew over her head, flapping its wings loudly. The little girl jumped to the side in fright and heard a squeak under her feet. Ah! My tail! My tail! Oh, no! SASHAA closed her eyes and covered her ears with her palms. It seems that I will be eaten now if I don't go deaf first. After a few seconds, during which she was not eaten, SASHAA finally decided to open her eyes. A strange beast the size of a hare was sitting on the ground at her feet, screaming at full volume. The beast had a fluffy green fur coat, a mouse muzzle, and huge ears. Swinging them, he flew off the ground before popping back down shortly after. This swift return to the ground was probably due to the fact that his body was plump and heavy. Or maybe it was because SASHAA was standing right on this wondrous creature's tail. "Oh, I'm so sorry. It looks as if I've stepped on your tail," SASHAA said as she stepped aside. Words suddenly came that the girl had never expected to hear. "Step on it again, please." SASHAA couldn't believe her ears. "What? Step on my marvelous fluffy tail again?" the beast sang. "Please!" What will happen next? In the next fairy tale, you will find out how Ellie became a princess and how SASHAA met the mohairs.